Hello, esteemed viewers, and welcome to today's devotional. We have another beautiful story for you today. So take your time, listen, reflect on the lessons taught, and make it a point to apply them to your Christian walk. As always, we strongly encourage you to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any future uploads. And don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences with us in the comments section below. We appreciate your support. Let's dive into the devotion. Have you ever looked around and only seen ruins? What about when you looked within yourself? Broken dreams, broken relationships, broken trust. You feel like you're surrounded by nothing but ruins? Nehemiah saw the broken walls of Jerusalem and chose to act with faith and courage. If he had focused on how massive the task seemed, he might have despaired. But instead he took action. In the Bible, there's a lesson for every season of life, and this story is a perfect example of one. It's found in the Old Testament in the book that bears the same name as its protagonist, Nehemiah. Nehemiah was the cupbearer to the king of Persia. This was a prestigious position of honor in the royal court, requiring diligence, discretion, and loyalty. His responsibility was to serve the king by monitoring and presenting him with cups during banquets and ceremonies. More than just a servant, Nehemiah was in a place of influence and trust, observing the king's moods and anticipating his needs. However, despite being so close to power and privilege, Nehemiah's heart was elsewhere. While serving the great king Artaxerxes in the luxurious palaces of Susa, his thoughts were thousands of miles away in Jerusalem. Nehemiah learned that the city walls were broken and the gates burned. Imagine the internal turmoil he must have felt, torn between his duty to the king and his longing for his homeland. Upon hearing this news, Nehemiah didn't just sit back and worry. He acted, he wept, fasted, and prayed fervently, pouring out his heart to God. Even though he was far from Jerusalem, his spirit was there. He didn't let the distance dampen his concern or weaken his commitment. One day the king noticed Nehemiah's sadness. Concerned, he asked his trusted servant what was wrong. And Nehemiah couldn't hide it anymore. Shared the distressing state of Jerusalem, the city he loved. Many of us have personal struggles that we keep hidden, ashamed or afraid of the judgment or ridicule of others. But Nehemiah was honest, open, and vulnerable. And it was this honesty that marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey. The king, moved by Nehemiah's genuine concern, and perhaps touched by God himself, granted him permission to return to Jerusalem, along with generous resources, authority to rebuild, and protection from harm. Imagine the mix of emotions: relief, gratitude, disbelief, anticipation, perhaps even fear. And Nehemiah must have felt it all at once. He thanked the king profusely, realizing he was being entrusted with a huge responsibility. But he was ready, driven by faith and fueled by a deep love for his people and his city. And so began Nehemiah's journey home. He prepared for the long journey, knowing that it wasn't just a trip, it was a mission. He gathered supplies, organized his team, and communicated his plans. He knew he wasn't alone in this endeavor. As the appointed time approached, Nehemiah and his group set out on their journey, traveling through vast landscapes and overcoming numerous challenges. Each step brought new discoveries, encounters, and lessons, shaping them and preparing them for what lay ahead. Finally, after a long journey, they arrived at Jerusalem. The sight that greeted them was both heartbreaking and inspiring. They saw the ruined city walls, broken gates, and the general state of disrepair. It was a scene that confirmed the urgency of their mission. Despite the sobering reality they faced, Nehemiah and his team did not despair. Instead, they rolled up their sleeves and got to work. They surveyed the damage, assessed their resources, and created a plan. It's easy to get overwhelmed when faced with big challenges. Sometimes we find ourselves paralyzed by the immensity of our problems, unsure where to start or how to proceed. But Nehemiah's approach offers a valuable lesson. Before you can rebuild, you need to assess the damage, gather resources, and devise a strategy. Planning is essential. Nehemiah understood that rebuilding the city walls would take time, effort, and unity, but he was determined to succeed. He rallied the people, inspired them with his vision, and organized them into teams. During the reconstruction process, various enemies and skeptics tried to hinder their progress. They mocked their efforts, instigated conflicts, and spread rumors. But Nehemiah and his team stood firm, focusing on their mission and trusting in God's protection. There will always be naysayers and obstacles in our path. There will be those who doubt our abilities and belittle our dreams. But the true test lies in our response to these challenges. Do we let negativity overwhelm us, or do we rise above it and stay true to our purpose? Throughout the project, Nehemiah continued to pray earnestly, seeking God's favor and blessing. He knew that without divine help, their efforts would be in vain. Prayer is a powerful tool that should not be overlooked. In the face of adversity, many of us become discouraged and even disillusioned. We may ask why certain situations or challenges have to happen to us. It's natural to question fate, especially when things seem particularly tough. However, it's crucial to remember that each situation, no matter how challenging, can be an opportunity for growth, resilience, and transformation. Adversity can refine our character, strengthen our determination, and deepen our faith. It can also teach us empathy, humility, and gratitude. Embracing challenges allows us to discover inner strength and unlock hidden potential. By learning to navigate difficulties, we equip ourselves to overcome future obstacles, becoming more adaptable, wise, and compassionate individuals. Rebuilding Jerusalem's walls was not just a physical project, it was a symbol of hope, resilience, and faith. For Nehemiah and his team, it represented the restoration of their identity, security, and relationship with God. After 52 days of intense work, the seemingly impossible became a reality. The walls were rebuilt, and the city was safer once again. This achievement was not only a testament to their hard work and dedication, but also a visible demonstration of God's faithfulness. In the book of Nehemiah, we see an extraordinary story of leadership, faith, and community. Nehemiah, a man of humble beginnings, rose to the position of cupbearer to the king of Babylon. Despite living in luxury, he never forgot his roots. When he learned that the city of Jerusalem was in ruins, his heart was heavy with sorrow. Without hesitation, he decided to return to his homeland and lead the reconstruction of the city walls. Upon arriving in Jerusalem, he was confronted with a daunting task: broken walls, skeptical neighbors, and limited resources. However, Nehemiah faced each obstacle with courage and determination. He organized the people, devised a plan, and set to work, although the project seemed overwhelming. The community worked tirelessly, and in just 52 days, they rebuilt the city walls. This achievement was a remarkable feat that demonstrated the power of unity, hard work, and faith. Beyond the physical reconstruction, Nehemiah also led a spiritual revival among the people. He encouraged them to read the law, repent of their sins, and renew their commitment to God. Under his leadership, Jerusalem became a beacon of hope and faith. Nehemiah's story serves as an inspiration for us today. It teaches us that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, with determination, faith, and community support, we can achieve great things. It reminds us that God can use ordinary people like you and me to accomplish extraordinary tasks. The legacy of Nehemiah continues to echo through history, reminding us that with faith, courage, and a shared purpose, we can transform our communities and leave a lasting impact on the world. May the story of Nehemiah inspire you to take on the challenges of your life with bravery, determination, and unwavering faith. Remember that with God by your side, no obstacle is too great to overcome. If Nehemiah's story inspired you, like this video, share it with someone who needs to rebuild something in their life, and subscribe to the channel. With God, even ruins can be restored.